Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, February 20th, President's Day. There certainly have been some snowstorms in the northeastern part of the nation on President's Day in the past, but not this year. A mild start to the week in the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., and it'll be kind of an up and down week in terms of temperatures for the mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S. It gets colder at midweek. Some parts of the mid-Atlantic, primarily the northern mid-Atlantic, for example, upstate Pennsylvania, New York City perhaps can get some sleet or snow as part of a mixture on Wednesday at midweek. And then it could get really warm on Thursday in many areas of the southern mid-Atlantic. For example, DC Metro has a chance to reach 70 to 75 degrees on Thursday, and then it turns colder again at the end of the work week going into the upcoming weekend throughout much of the mid-Atlantic, the northeastern part of the nation. Of course, the I-95 corridor region from D.C. to Philly to New York City, really all the way to Boston, have had minimal snow amounts this year. But this is a snow map of the continental U.S. up to date, pretty much up to the February 19th time period. And there certainly are parts of the country that have gotten a lot of snow this particular season. First of all, here's the scale over here, and we can see right here the Sierra Nevada. It's just off the scale. This is a pure white right in this region right here, which is actually off the scale. They've had likely, according to this, more than 50 feet of snow during the past few months here in the winter season. There is some white on this scale of 1 foot, but that does not pertain here. This is literally off the scales here. Sierra Nevada of eastern California have been absolutely pummeled with snow. Some of the deepest snowpack there in many, many decades. And of course, that will play a role in a supply of water during the warm season. During the summer months, for example, the snowmelt in the Sierra Nevada are particularly important for supplying water to the state of California. All these areas in red, for example, right here in the central and the northern plains and throughout much of northern New England, 4 feet or more so far this winter season. So again, there have been many areas with substantial snowfall. One of those areas without substantial snowfall, of course, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, really all the way to Boston. The I-95 corridor region, where of course there's a large population of people, not much snow at all in that part of the country. But again, the northern U.S. is certainly not without its significant snowfall. In places in California, unbelievable amounts of snow over the past few months. Well, let's take a look ahead now. We've just taken a look at the past few months with the snowfall across the continental U.S. What about the next few weeks as we end the month of February and turn into the month of March? Let's take a look at a couple of teleconnection indices, and we've talked at length about strong upper-level ridging across the southern U.S., the southwestern part of the Atlantic Ocean, keeping certainly the southeastern states warmer than normal for an extended period of time, and really all the way up to the mid-Atlantic region. That ridge over the southeastern U.S. has kept at bay many long-term cold air outbreaks. We've had some cold air outbreaks in the mid-Atlantic, the northeast U.S., but as was the case this past weekend, Friday night, Saturday cold air outbreak, they have been rather short-lived, and that is a direct result of that strong ridge southeastern part of the nation. Taking a look at a couple of teleconnection indices suggests that we're going to have a battle going forward over the next few weeks. This is the NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation. And when this slips into negative territory, as it is forecasted to do right here over the next couple of weeks, this particular line is the neutral line. It's currently in positive territory here, as seen by these black labels here. Black represents observations, and the red, the forecast. Again, it slips down into negative territory over the next couple of weeks, and that is usually correlated with high latitude blocking, like higher heights to normal, higher pressures than normal over places like Greenland, perhaps Iceland, northeastern Canada, and that in turn generally favors cold air intrusions into the northeast U.S. But looks like there will be a battle with the continuation of upper level ridging over the southeastern part of the nation. Now, let's now take a look at a second teleconnection index. And here we go. This is known as the PNA, the Pacific North America Index. And when this is in negative territory, that tends to be correlated with high level ridging over the southeastern part of the nation. Indeed, it looks like it'll drop into negative territory, suggesting that that upper level ridge over the southeastern states will not go away. So that will set up a battle over the next couple of weeks between high latitude blocking and colder air masses over Greenland, northeastern Canada, and warmer air masses, high latitude ridging over the southeastern U.S. That'll present a real battle over the mid-Atlantic region of the northeast U.S. So expect unsettled weather conditions over the next couple of weeks. And as far as the rain versus snow situation, we'll really have to take a look at each system on its own. And indeed, let's start looking at the next several days, because there are many, many systems to deal with over the next couple of weeks. Well, before we take a look, excuse me, at the Canadian model run from last night, let's look at the Ensemble run of the European from 0Z last night. What we're looking at are 5-day height anomalies in 5-day increments. This is the average for the current 5-day period. Right here you see days 1 to 5. That's the current time period of February 25th all the way out, 20th all the way out to the 25th. And right off the bat, notice strong upper level ridging right here on average over the next 5 days. That's a continuation of what we've had over the past couple of months, really, over the southeastern states. Very warm period for Florida. And again, that high pressure ridging, abnormally higher heights than normal, have promoted a lot of warmer than normal conditions all the way up into the mid-Atlantic region and the northeast U.S. It has really inhibited any kind of a long-term cold air outbreak, any sustainability of cold air in the mid-Atlantic or the northeast U.S. Notice also, Greenland, there is no real high latitude blocking. There's a little bit of a sign of it here just to the south of Iceland, which is right in this region. Now, let's move forward in time here over the next couple of weeks here. We're going forward. These, again, 5-day increments, days 2 to 5, 2 to 7, then 3 to 7, 4 to 8 here, and we're going forward in time now, days 6 to 10. This is the 25th of February going out to the 2nd of March. Still higher heights to normal over the southern U.S. and not much going on over Greenland yet at this time, but then we go out farther in time and notice this high latitude blocking pattern sets up at the end of this particular model run here, which is days 11 to 15. We're all the way into the early part of March now, March 2nd to March 7th. Here we have higher heights to normal, and this is your basically your NAO type of pattern right here, with higher heights to normal, higher pressure than normal over Greenland, Iceland. Normal. That sends some cold air down into the northeastern, the mid-Atlantic region. But notice also, we still have some semblance of that high latitude ridging, high altitude ridging over the southeastern part of the nation. So this will present quite a battle. This sends warmer air up on its backside into the Ohio Valley, sometimes reaching the mid-Atlantic region. So this is the battle that we're going to set up and see in action over the next couple of weeks. And again, multiple systems will have to be monitored, really one system at a time, and see if this exerts its strength and causes more rain in the mid-Atlantic region, or this exerts its strength and causes more ice and snow in the mid-Atlantic northeastern U.S. And I cite the mid-Atlantic because that's kind of right in the middle. That might be the center of this particular battleground area over the next couple of weeks. Well, let's now take a look at last night's Canadian model run. For the next 10 days, this is the snow forecast map here. And again, a ton of snow for the Sierra Nevada right here showing up in white. That is basically off the charts here, 48 inches or higher here over the Sierra Nevada. So they've had somewhat of a reprieve over the last several weeks in terms of storminess. Storms return to California and send what will make a kind of a historically deep snowpack in the Sierra Nevada even deeper over the next 10 days. And look at this swath of very heavy snow across much of the upper Midwest, the northern plains, all the way into the northern New England over the next 10 days. So those same areas that have had a substantial amount of snow so far this winter will continue to do so over the next 10 days. And not a heck of a lot going on in that D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. But we'll have to look at each system here on its individual basis here going forward for the next several days. Well, here's the Canadian model run as we begin the new work week here. Some people have off today, President's Day. This is the Monday morning forecast map from last night's 0Z run of the Canadian model. It'll be a mild day in the mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S., maybe 60 degrees in D.C., the 50s, Philadelphia, New York City, basically a dry pattern across the eastern two-thirds of the nation. Some snow way up to the north over Montana, over North Dakota, southeastern part of Canada. Now, let's move forward here. We have unsettled weather pattern, some shower activity overnight tonight into Tuesday in the mid-Atlantic region. Snow confined way up to the northern part of the U.S. Then we get into midweek, and this is our first battle zone situation here, where we have some colder air coming down the southeastern part of Canada into New England at the same time. Just take a look at this. We have a flow of air like this out of the Gulf of Mexico, and a cold flow of air like this coming out of southeastern Canada into New England. This could ultimately be quite a battle on the day Wednesday night. Let's move forward and see what the this particular run does. And here we go. We have some sleet and snow breaking out over the northern mid-Atlantic region during the day on Wednesday. A lot of accumulating snow in those same hard-hit areas from earlier this winter, the upper Midwest, the northern plains here. We move forward. So watch out for the possibility of some ice or snow. Let's say upstate Pennsylvania, maybe certainly interior northwestern New Jersey, maybe even into the New York City metro area. This is on Wednesday now, and accumulating snow interior parts of New York and New England on Wednesday night, all backed up by this cold high over the southeastern part of Canada. Again, this is indicative of that NAO slipping into negative territory, high latitude blocking starting to set up over Hudson Bay region of Canada into Greenland and Iceland. Meanwhile, down here, you still have that warm flow of air out of the Gulf of Mexico into the Tennessee Valley and the southern part of the Mid-Atlantic region. So we move forward in time. This produces accumulating snow, let's say from Minnesota to Maine. And by the time we get into Thursday now, on Thursday, the warm air wins out. The high pressure over the southeastern states wins out in the Mid-Atlantic region. 70 to 75 degrees on the table for D.C., maybe much cooler than that in New York City. Again, that battle zone area with the colder air to the north and east, the warmer air to the south and west here on Wednesday and especially Thursday, may produce quite a temperature gradient from, let's say, New York City or just to the north of New York City to D.C. There could be a 20 to 25, maybe even 30-degree temperature difference with accumulating snow on Thursday up across Maine, northern New England. Again, at the same time, it could be 75 degrees in D.C. Then pretty much cold air floods into the Mid-Atlantic region, by all of the Mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. By the time we get to Friday and Saturday, the cold air wins out. The high pressure over southeastern Canada wins out, and we'll have to watch the next system right here. By the time we get to Saturday night, it'll be cold enough at that particular time, it looks like, for snow, maybe even down to the southern part of the Mid-Atlantic region. Now, how far north this particular system goes will have to be determined over the next several days, but there's a chance of snow, even in D.C., where maybe 75 on Thursday. Cannot rule out the possibility of some snow on Saturday, and that's the kind of battle we're going to be encountering here over the next couple of weeks in the eastern U.S. Go out a little farther in time and look at this snow throughout much of the mid-Atlantic region into the interior part of New York State, with that, again, high pressure over southeastern Canada in the lead at this particular time. So kind of an up and down temperature pattern for much of the eastern U.S. this week, and that's a consequence of the battle developing here between the high altitude ridging over the southeastern states and high latitude blocking that's going to develop for the southeastern part of Canada, the Greenland region of North America, Iceland, Hudson Bay region of Canada. So a lot of cold air over here, a lot of warm air down here, mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S., right in that battleground area over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. There'll be a lot going on over the next couple of weeks. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.